Today, I'm going to show you how to make an invisible apple cake. This is a French recipe that is really popular over in Japan. Super easy cake recipe. If I can do it, you can do it. Let's get baking. Down below in the description box, you'll find a list of the ingredients and their amounts. Begin with your dry ingredients. Now, I have 1 cup of all-purpose flour, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Let's give this a nice little whisk. You could also use a sifter if you want. Excellent. Let's set this aside. Now I have 3 large apples. You can use like 4 medium apples, 3 to 4 apples. And I rinsed and dried these, and now we want to peel them and then slice them up into little slices. So we'll just do a quick peel on these. And you can use whatever apples that you want. These are Honeycrisp right now that I'm using. Normally I would use something like a Granny Smith, more of a tart apple, but you can use whatever apples that you want. And I'm just going to cut down the core. And then we'll just cut these up. You don't have to use a mandolin for this. Just cut them about 1/8 of an inch thick, like that. Okay? I'm going to place these in a bowl. So once you have them all sliced up, we can set these aside. And now, in a medium bowl, let's add 2 large eggs. We'll give these a whisk. A 1/2 cup of white granulated sugar. Give that a whisk. 1/2 cup of milk. And then now I have 2 tablespoons of butter here, unsalted butter, and let's melt this. You can do it on the stovetop or in the microwave, 20-30 seconds to melt it. All right, so get that melted butter and just pour that in there. Fantastic. And now let's take our dry ingredients and we'll just pour those all in there, and we'll give this a good whisk. And then it makes a nice runny batter like this. Some recipes will use a little bit less flour so it's even more runny. I like to do it just a little bit on the thicker side. Just a personal preference. And now let's add those apples. And then we're just going to fold these in and get these all covered. Also, a traditional invisible apple cake is not going to normally have the cinnamon and the nutmeg, but I just love adding it. Just adds so much flavor. Okay, perfect. And now I have an 8x8 inch baking pan here, and I just lined it with parchment paper. And let's scoop these in here, these apples, and get them all in there. Make sure they're all spread out flat and even. And then we'll scoop out any of this extra batter and put that on top. And then an optional step is I have these sliced almonds here. This is about 1/2 cup, but you may not want to use all of them. I like putting a bunch of almonds on there. And now we bake this in the oven, again, 350 Fahrenheit, 176 Celsius. And we're gonna bake this for about 40 minutes and then cover it with foil and then bake it for another 10 to 15 minutes onto that step. And when it comes out of the oven, it'll look like this. Remember, at the 40-minute mark, make sure to cover it with foil. That way the top doesn't get too brown. But the almonds on top should be lightly golden. And then you're gonna wanna let this cool for at least an hour. You wanna make sure that it's completely cool before we remove it and slice it, all right? And once it's done cooling, we can take it out of the pan here. This was a 4x8 inch loaf pan. And look at that, so awesome. And now I'm gonna slice into it and show you what it looks like. And there you go. As you can see, the slices of apple kind of blend in with the cake part there on the inside, and that's how it gets its name, Invisible Apple Cake. Now to serve it, you can serve it plain like this. You can drizzle some caramel sauce on there. You can serve it with whipped cream, powdered sugar, vanilla ice cream, whatever you want to do. Really easy, simple cake. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm Matt Taylor. This has been another episode of In the Kitchen with Matt. Thank you for joining me. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or requests, put them down below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thumbs up, down the corner, press it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. Take care. Time for me to dive into this. Oh yeah. Yeah. Look at that. So good. It's light, creamy, and not super sweet. And you get a nice little crunch from those almonds. Amazing. Now I want to show you another more traditional style of invisible apple cake. This one, what I did is I baked it without almonds on top, and also I used a 1/4 cup less flour, and I didn't use any of the spices, no cinnamon and no nutmeg. And that's more of a traditional style. And then I also let it chill overnight, so it really sets up nicely. I'm gonna take this out of here. And so it's gonna be a lot more damp looking, which is completely normal. And I'm gonna cut this. And then that's how this looks on the inside. And this is a more classic style. Both are really awesome. I kind of like mine better, but I'm gonna give this a taste. Mmm.